we got another interview alert here on Texans Today, and another former Texans player, Cecil Shorts III, will be joining the show live on Wednesday. It's going to start at 3 p.m. Central Time. Don't miss out. You're going to get your chance to ask him any questions that you have and see his analysis on the Texans, other NFL teams, and everything going on around the NFL. So if you want to see that live interview, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to stay tuned in because he will be live on this channel Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Coming up on the program today, I'm going to be ranking the Texans rookies on how much of an impact I think they'll make this season. I'm going to talk about some UDFAs, and then I'm going to go down our draft class and tell you who I think is going to make the biggest impact this season. And number one might not shock you, but the way I have them ordered might raise a couple eyebrows. Before I get into my list, though, I want to hear from you folks at home. Which Texans rookie do you think will have the biggest impact on the team this season? I want to know from you down in the comment section. Let your voice be heard and tell me which rookie you think is going to ball out this season. First, let's talk Texans UDFAs, and this is how I kind of have them ranked. I also just realized I forgot to put in Jackson Woodard. All good. I'd probably have him equal right here with Casey Osai, but in terms of the UDFAs, I don't think Daniel Jackson really has a chance with the amount of wide receiver talent that we brought in this offseason. Elijah Huzzie, once he gets, medically cleared, once he's able to play, I think he could make an impact. Junior Tafuna and then Eli Cox are the top two. But actually, the number one UDFA that I think is going to make an impact for the Texans this year, and I've said it before, Austin Brinkman, the long snapper. For the first time since 2009, the Texans will have somebody not named John Weeks doing the long snapping duties for this team. A la the UDFA, Austin Brinkman has a golden opportunity to take this job by the horns, pun intended. Now, let's get right into the Texans rookie draft class. Probably not a surprise here. Number 9 is Graham Mertz. If I see a second of Graham Mertz football during the regular season, I'm going to have a bitch fit. I will be so upset if Graham Mertz plays any snaps because that means CJ Stroud and Davis Mills, something bad happened. And that's not what I want to see at all if I'm this Texans team, right? I don't want to see any bit of Graham Mertz on the football field this year for the Houston Texans. Nothing against the rookie from Florida. He could be, a good backup down the line, but I'm not trying to think of any other quarterback besides CJ7 taking snaps for this team. If that's the case, pack it up because I don't think this team's going anywhere. We need CJ Stroud. We need him to stay healthy. Graham Mertz, sorry, bud, but I have you with the very last slot for our Texans rookie impact this year. Next up, Keontae Hamilton. And I know what a lot of y'all are thinking. I think there could be a small part of this roster, a small part of this team that I could see Keontae Hamilton make an impact. But we also have to remember the Texans drafted 2 defensive linemen in round 7 of last year's draft. Neither of those guys made the team on the initial 53-man roster. Keontae Hamilton is going to have an uphill battle, especially after the re-signing of Foley Fatukasi. Here's the Texans defensive line depth chart as it stands right now. And I have 5 slots because I do think we have 2 defensive tackles that are really good, interchangeable starters. And then the nose tackle spot, the guy who's going to play in front of the center, I think it's either Tim Settle or Foley Fatukasi in those situations. So it's a tough room to crack, right? It's going to be a tough battle for Hamilton to make this initial 53-man roster because I see about 7, 8 locks right there on the defensive line. And if that's the case, how many defensive linemen are they going to keep on the initial 53-man roster? There's, quite a few slots that are already taken up. I don't know how much room there is for Keontae Hamilton. Next up, let's go to Jaylen Reed, defensive back from Penn State. And I think he could make an impact from the get in special teams. That's where he's going to make his impact, in my opinion. I do think it was somewhat of a draft steal, right? A 6th-round pick, played at Penn State, and played well. 98 tackles, 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups this past year for the Nittany Lions. Jaylen Reed is a guy who, in the pre-draft process was gushing over the Texans defense and this coaching staff and wanted to play for Houston. He got his wish, and I'm really excited to see how he takes that, opportunity. If he's able to kind of work his way up, be somebody who maybe year one we see a ton of in special teams, making plays on, kickoff, punt return, however he may be, utilized. I think Jaylen Reed could make a decent impact for this team. And kind of the same things that I'm saying about Jaylen Reed, I'm going to go with the other Jaylen Smith, defensive back from USC. And everything I just said for Jaylen Reed, Command C, Command V. Yeah, same thing, right? It's going to be a guy who I don't think either of these guys start at any point throughout the season unless there's some injuries. But, Jaylen Smith could, come in at some point. I have him a little bit higher because he plays kind of that same role as a Jalen Petrie. And he's had some injury issues the past couple of years. So I could see Jaylen Smith be a guy who comes in due to injury and plays in that nickel star role for this Texans team in the box. He's another guy who's a hard hitter, not afraid to tackle anybody. And I think maybe that connection with Kalen Bullock could help him out just a little bit, getting some chemistry, knowing the guys already a little bit better. I mean, hell, Kalen Bullock was at his draft party. So I could see Jaylen Smith making an impact for this team. Coming up, I have the top 5 guys who are going to make an impact for the Texans who are rookies. But before we get into those guys, if you haven't gotten a Texans jersey yet this offseason, well, now is your opportunity. If you go to this link right here, chatsports.com/Texans jerseys, that link will send you straight to the Fanatics website where we are friends, and they will know that we sent you because you use this link right here, chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. Whether you're looking for a Will Anderson, Jalen Petrie, Stingley, Stroud, any jersey you want, they got you covered over there at Fanatics. One more time, it's chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. That link will be in the comment section and description of today's video. Let's go into the top 5, guys. Number 5, Luke Lachey, tight end, the 7th-round pick out of Iowa. And yes, he's kind of jumping some of these guys who were drafted before him, right? And I think it's just because he'll have a little bit more of an opportunity, right? Nick Caley, new offensive coordinator, a former tight ends coach, and a lot of people. Todd McShay said his favorite 7th-round pick from this past year's draft was, in fact, Luke Lachey. The numbers don't really jump off the page, but when you look at this tight end room, Dalton Schultz, basically on the last year of his deal, the Texans can save over $11 million by cutting him this offseason. Cade Stover, the second-round player, or the second-round guy, or second-season guy out of Ohio State. I can't even talk anymore. Then we re-signed Brevin Jordan. It's a wide-open room. Luke Lachey will have his opportunity, and I think if he impresses in OTAs and, he impresses in the preseason, he could find his way into getting some offensive snaps for this team this year. Number 4, this one might be the most controversial one for y'all. Jaylen Null, and I know I've said he's my favorite, value guy. He's my favorite pick the Texans made this past year, and I do think he's going to make an impact on this team. I just think other people might make a little bit more of an impact. The Texans have Nico Collins. They have his teammate from Iowa State, who we're going to talk about in just a moment. And I think he will make a massive impact for the Texans. Year one, though, I'm not sure if it's going to be as much as some other rookies on this team. You look at, the past 4 years at Iowa State, and each year he got better. That's what you want to see, right? You want to see a player get better year in and year out, and that's exactly what Jaylen Null did. I think he will be a part of this passing attack. He will be a part of this offense, and C.J. Stroud will look at him for targets. But compared to some of the other receivers in this receiving room, I don't think he's going to get as much run as some of the other guys. So number 4 was Jaylen Null. Now, let's get into number 3. This one might surprise people too. I have Aireontae Ersery, the second pick the Texans made in round 2, the offensive tackle from Minnesota. And I want him to be higher on this list, right? I think all Texans fans want him to be higher on this list. But from what I've been hearing from my sources around the Texans, I don't think it's crazy to say Ersery doesn't start this year. Right now on my depth chart, I have him at the starting right tackle position because I wanted to simply try to get, the best 5 guys out there if I could. But it's not far-fetched that Ersery is going to be a guy who doesn't start in week 1, that he's going to be the backup left tackle to Cam Robinson, and they're just going to try to groom him for the left tackle of the future, which, in my opinion, I see what the Texans are trying to do. I see them trying to lay the foundation for the future. But with the team that I believe is in win now mode, a team that has a chance to make some noise in the AFC this season, I actually think it's a massive disappointment that if that's their train of thought, if that's their thought process around the second-round pick, Aireontae Ersery. I would be upset personally if he didn't start this season. But I want to hear from you folks at home. Would you be mad if Ersery did not start this season? If he was a backup, if he didn't make an impact, if he was just a swing tackle in year 1, would that make you upset? Let me know yes or no down in the comment section. Personally, for me, I'm going to go with yes because Blake Fisher was kind of in that same role last year, right? He was somebody who only started a little under half the games for the Texans in 2024. And when you're looking at a second or third round pick, you want an immediate impact guy. You want somebody who can go out there and help your team in year 1, make an impact. And if he's on the bench, he's not doing that, right? He's not making an impact for this offensive line. You could maybe look at it on the flip side of some of the other signings or traded guys make a really good impact for this Texans team. But you want that to be your young guy. You want it to be the rookie who comes in and kind of, gets the ball rolling his rookie season. And that's why he's number 3 on my list. And at number 2, I actually have Woody Marks, running back out of USC. And this might be the one that a lot of people, give me crap for in the comments section. But I don't care because I really do believe Woody Marks is a diamond in the rough. Everybody was upset when the Texans traded up in round 4 to get Marks out of USC. But it's like a puzzle piece that fits perfectly into this Texans offense. It's what they needed. It's what they wanted. They wanted a pass-catching back, and that's exactly what they got in Woody Marks. ESPN just put out an article, and this is what they had to say on Woody Marks. Marks was a pass-catching star in college, posting 1,546 receiving yards on 317 targets over 5 seasons, more than doubling the next closest back in routes, targets, and catches. On the other hand, he averaged south of 5 yards per carry over 5 seasons, and his career 2.4 yards after contact per carry is easily the worst in this draft class. Marks also underwhelmed across the board at the combine, including a 4.54 40-yard dash. The 24-year-old will compete with Ogunbowale and Dameon Pierce for number 2 duties behind Joe Mixon in Houston. And it's funny because they said all that, and they put this prediction out for him, which if this is his stat line at the end of the year, I think that's a pretty big contribution to this Texans offense, right? 105 carries, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 21 receptions for 157 yards. You're talking about, over 600 yards of total offense for Woody Marks this season. That's a pretty big deal for a rookie running back and somebody who is behind Joe Mixon. So I think Woody Marks, I think they actually maybe kind of mix it up a little bit. I think he might get more receiving yards than what they projected him to get. But either way, I think he'll be a massive part of this offense. You could even maybe go a little 2-back sets in shotgun with Joe Mixon, and you have Woody Marks on the other side. And I think the different ways that they'll be able to use him in the passing game could be very instrumental down the stretch. Joe Mixon, obviously, easily the best running back on this team, but Woody Marks, easily the best pass-catching back on this team. And that there's something to be said with that of a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. But the number 1 guy, and if you're subscribed to the channel, if you've been watching this show, this should come at no surprise. It's Jayden Higgins, their first selection in this draft. They traded back out of the first round, and they selected their first pick at pick 34 with taking Jayden Higgins. And I said it before, I think if there was no trade back option, they might have just taken Jayden Higgins at pick 25. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, a little far-fetched, but he is a guy who is raising a lot of eyebrows already. You look at articles around the NFL, around all these NFL pundits, and they're all saying the same thing. Jayden Higgins is somebody who's going to make some noise this season. And if you don't believe me that I've been on the Jayden Higgins bandwagon for a while now, I actually made this video a little bit more than a week and a half ago. It's on the channel right now. This is what the thumbnail looks like. If you want to see a more in-depth look at Jayden Higgins and why he's going to make such an impact on this team, go check out this video on the channel. But let's continue to talk about this ESPN article that broke down why they think Jayden Higgins is going to make a big impact. Higgins will join Christian Kirk and fellow draft pick Jaylen Null in trying to fill that void. Higgins brings an excellent combination of size and speed to the position, similar to teammate Nico Collins. He showed very good discipline and body control on passes thrown his way on the sideline in college, and that should help him build chemistry with C.J. Stroud in a hurry. And the biggest thing right here of why I think Higgins is going to make such an impact is Stroud trusts Nico Collins. He has that trust with him. And because of that, he sees more targets. Look at Higgins' drops the past 2 years. Even the past 3 years. 2 drops. 1 drop, 1 drop. He maybe has the surest hands out of any wide receiver from this draft class. He does not drop the football. One thing that I was told from multiple people that went to Texans rookie minicamp was Jayden Higgins did not drop a single football. Every ball that was thrown his way, catch. And that's what this Texans team needs. Whenever it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, C.J. Stroud's going to remember that. He's going to say, am I going to throw to a guy who, questionable hands, or am I going to throw to the guy who I know if it hits his palm, he's going to catch the football? And because of that, I think Jayden Higgins might even surprise people. And this might be my hottest take of the offseason. He might lead the Texans in receptions and receiving yards this season. I know it's crazy. I know it's far-fetched because we have Nico Collins, who is a top 5 receiver in this league. But if teams are going to double him, if teams are going to, focus on Nico Collins and try to scheme him out of games, who does that leave on with one-on-one opportunities? This guy right here, Jayden Higgins, and that's why I think he's going to make the biggest impact for this Texans team in his first season. Now, that's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, I'm at Jeremy Chuggs. You can continue the conversation. And a quick reminder, we will be live on Wednesday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Cecil Shorts III will be here answering all your questions. It's going to start 3 p.m. Central Time. He'll be here for around 45 minutes answering all your questions and talking football, talking shop. Just a couple of dudes, couple of guys being dudes, right? If you want to join in, if you want to hear what he has to say, make sure you hit that sub button, turn on your notifications, and be there this Wednesday at 3 p.m.